Very good evening to you all. I am Professor Narayan Reddy, Treasurer, Association of Indian Management Schools. It is a proud feeling to associate with AIMS. We love to call Association of Indian Management Schools as AIMS. And AIMS is a 32 years old body. It is the second largest in terms of number of institutional members. The AIMS is having more than 800 institutional life members in the country and also outside. The AIMS is basically a policy advocacy body and promoting management education in the country in the right direction. The AIMS, not only in terms of 32 years young institution, its flagship programs are mainly to organize the convention. Every year, annually, we conduct the annual convention, and through annual convention, we promote the management education as desired by the society. And every year, we select one theme which is contextual and contemporary in nature. On that, we invite the research papers, and this will be the biggest event in that particular year. In the annual convention, we present a lot of awards to our member institutions. And during this convention, we invite research papers for presentation, case study competition, V School Innovation Award we present to one of the best innovation institution, innovation to faculty and innovative student. And we give the best young researcher award, best teacher award. And above all that, on this great occasion, AIMS confer Ravi J. Mataya Award on this, one of the best professors and academicians and industry personnel on this occasion. During the last 32 years' time, we have presented the Ravi J. Mataya Award to the management stalwarts in the country. And I'm very, very happy to share that AIMS is a recognized body by the Ministry of Education. Automatically, its president will be the member in the All India Board of Management Studies, that is the Policy Advocacy Board under AICTE, and its president will promote the management education by collecting the number of opinions from across the country and also the world. The AIMS is having its head office in Hyderabad, and second office is in Pune. Through Pune office, the AIMS conduct Atma admission test for most of the management institutions across the country. And every year, the thousands of people are actively participating in the Atma test. Atma test is one of the 4 top recognized admission tests by the government of India. That way, we are proud to say that AIMS is the important association spearheading the management education in the right direction. I am very, very happy to welcome today's guest speaker on this webinar, Dr. Radhakrishna Pillai. Along with him, I am very, very happy here to welcome Professor Uday Solanki, the illustrious past president of our AIMS, and many past presidents of AIMS are also attending this particular seminar. I welcome all of them, all the participants to this very, very interesting webinar. And this webinar is a little different from the rest. That's why I say this is the 40th webinar organized by AIMS, and this 40th one is very interesting that the management lessons from Chanakya philosophy. And to speak on this particular subject, we have Dr. Radhakrishna Pillai. Dr. Radhakrishna Pillai is really spearheading the philosophy of Chanakya, not only in the country and the world. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Dr. Radhakrishna Pillai to my audience who are participating in this webinar. Dr. Radhakrishna Pillai is a PhD from University of Mumbai and has done extensive research on Kautilya's Arthashastra from Chinmaya International Foundation, Kerala, under the guidance of Dr. Gangadharan Nair, former Dean of Adi Shankara Sanskrit University. He is also having an MA in Sanskrit. On the popular side, Dr. Pillai is known for his internationally best-selling book, Corporate Chanakya, and other books in the Chanakya series. With nearly 25 years of experience, Dr. Pillai is a leadership speaker, trainer, and personal mentor who trains leaders and aspirants from various fields, including corporates, politics, academicians, public serving personalities. He is a certified management consultant from International Institute of Management Consultants. Dr. Pillai is a director at SPM Foundation and founder director of Atmadarshan Private Limited, a spiritual tourism company, and Chanakya Anvishki Private Limited, a leadership training mentor institute. He has been recently appointed as the Deputy Director of Chanakya International Institute of Leadership Studies as Autonomous Institute based in the University of Mumbai Kalina campus. He has written nearly 200 articles and papers for various magazines, newspapers, and journals. He has given TEDx talks on how to become rich. He has also hosted a radio show, Ask Chanakya, on Moksha channel of World Peace Satellite Radio. He is the visiting faculty to many institutions like IITs, IIMs, IISc, and among others. He has been the trainer and strategy consultant to over 500 organizations like Indian Army, Navy, Air Force, Indian Police, various NGOs, private and public organizations. He has been awarded the prestigious Sardar Patel International Award 2009 and Avishkar Chanakya Innovation Research Award in 2013 for his research and contribution in the field of management and industrial development areas. Recently, he was honored with the Lokmat National Education Leadership Award as the best professor in philosophy. He is rated among the top 30 Indian management thinkers globally by Thinkers50.com. Like this, if I continue, this it takes another 20 to 25 minutes to read his profile. So therefore, I briefly say that Dr. Pillai is the best-selling author of 10 books. His first book, Corporate Chanakya, has been on the bestseller list since its launch in 2010 and used as its textbook in various business schools in India and abroad. The book has the unique distinction of being made into an audiobook, world's first management film on Chanakya teachings. Chanakya speaks and translates into 10 regional languages. His second book, Chanakya's 7 Secrets of Leadership, along with Mr. D. Sivanandan, ex-DGP Maharashtra Police, has created waves in corporate world since its release. So I am very, very happy. I am cut-shorting his profile reading, and I am very, very happy to welcome Dr. Radhakrishna Pillai to this session. Special thing is that first time my wife also joined to listen to Dr. Radhakrishna Pillai because she read his book on the Chanakya philosophy. Mr. Pillai, now floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Reddy. A warm good evening to each one of you present over here. My special pranams to Dr. Uday sir, also Uday Salunke sir, and all the other visiting, not visiting, management professors, students, teachers, and everybody who's connected to the field of management education. Narayana Reddy sir, I was just waiting for you to wait because I never expected you to read the whole biodata. The simplest thing would have been said that he's a part of the management family.
Surely, we are proud.
Absolutely, I'm proud to be sharing this particular platform because AIMS, Association of Indian Management Schools, is something which is very close to my heart. I've been actually hearing about it ever since Uday Salunke sir was also there leading it, and of course now you are there. And such an amazing platform where you said we are actually getting into policy making. So I'm feeling privileged because each one of you over here, be it a director or a student or a teacher of management, has been responsible for making me successful what I am today. So if my book Corporate Chanakya and others are doing well, it is only because of the teachers and this fraternity which is promoting it. So friends, first of all, please accept my gratitude and my thankfulness to each one of you for making Chanakya so popular today in our own context, especially in the management field. A couple of things before I go to my topic today. Friends, it so happened that many years ago, when management as a discipline of study came into India, think about it, the early 60s, when, management was something which was considered like, the difference between the labor and the management, more the industrial era. So management means somebody sitting over there at the top in the AC cabins and everybody else was fighting against the management. So from that era, if you look at today, I think management is like a very, very common word. It is something that is popular in every field. So we talk about hospital management, we talk about art management, retail management. So if you look at it, management has become like a in thing. And, a management guru is one of the most respected gurus. But we as people who are part of the academia have a major contribution to do in the field of management. I remember the first time I went where I had represented India in the one of the management conferences abroad. I realized one thing very interesting, that we Indian managers need not prove ourselves anymore. Okay, so initially it was we were like a developing economy and we don't know, but now this generation doesn't have to prove itself. We already proven. Think about it, the Googles and the Microsofts and the IBMs and the NASAs, everywhere we have people Indian managing and leading organization. Some of you must have seen this, very recently. The American President Joe Biden sir also said, Indians are, actually taking over all senior positions in every part of America, be it academia, be it politics, be it policy making, advisory, be it the IT company, be it the medical fraternity. So I think this particular generation has got a very interesting thing, not to just learn management, but to lead management. Yes, gone are the days when we are saying that, we will be actually being part of management. You don't have to be part of the management. You are the one who's going to lead management. So I want to just tell this in a simple way. Initially, India wanted to be world class. We are a developing economy. We want to catch up with the world. We are left behind after so many generations of, colonialism and, the struggle that we had. So initially, we are just catching up. So initially, we were wanting to be world class. But interestingly now, India will be the class for the world. So we don't have to be world class. We will be the benchmark for others. And it's already happening. It's already there. We don't have to wait for some futuristic thing. Today, Indians are becoming case studies. I remember when I used to do my management studies, it's all about, Western case studies and how it works. But today it is a reverse. People are talking about, what's happening in India. What is the India story? Everybody is coming over here. Therefore, our generation has got a major responsibility as well. And this responsibility is twofold. Number one, to lead the field of management. And second, very important, go back to the past. You may wonder, what do you mean by go back to the past? It's important that as we do research, and as Reddy sir was pointing out, there's so many research papers, case studies, awards that will keep coming up. But it's also important, Indian management is very, very interesting. It's got a legacy, it's got a history, it's got a tradition. So our management is not just about new, but it's also about old, not just ancient, but also eternal. So friends, we have a civilization which has survived the test of time. We may not call it the corporate world to begin with, because during those days, the systems were not as it is today. But the reality is that we also had our own management systems. And therefore, we need to look back at the past to move ahead. India is a very strange country. If you don't look at the past, you will never know your future. It's all interconnected. And when we were initially talking about it, there is not a single family in India, not a single family in India which doesn't look at the calendar, the Indian calendar, to take a decision. So maybe it's Rahu Kal, or you're looking at, when is the sunrise or the sunset. So I want to tell you that even though we will talk about a lot of management of the new generation, we are still connected to the past. So I will start with a small story. I remember in the year 2000, almost 21 years ago, I had gone to Kumbh Mela. Okay. And I remember there was this whole BBC crew, the British Broadcasting Corporation, and they were covering up. And they were suddenly surprised of so many people coming from different parts of the country to take a dip in Mother Ganga. That time it was in Allahabad, now called as Prayagraj. And I saw this British journalist actually going and interviewing a Swamiji, an English-speaking Swamiji. And he said, very strange question. How do you invite so many crores of people? So he was looking at, okay, how do you invite? And the next question was very interesting. How many invitation cards do you print to call so many people? And it is quite surprising. I was wonderstruck that that's true. In the Western world, everything is so organized that you have to call a person, send him an invitation card, book a ticket. And this Swamiji just told him, in India, we don't have to send an invitation card. Then how do you call so many people on exactly on that one day at the right timing? Then he said, we have a management system in our culture called as Panchanga. So we don't have to even invite. They're already invited. Now the government only has to manage it because people are going to come. And then it hit me that our systems, even today, remember this, even today, we look at the calendar, be it a wedding muhurat, or looking at when is the right time to do a housewarming ceremony. So I'm not telling that we should not go ahead, but remember one thing, it's a strange coincidence and a strange opportunity that we as a civilization have to look at the past as we look at the future. Because Indian management is not just ancient, but it is eternal. So friends, we should be proud of the thing that we have been time tested. We don't know about others, but we have not only survived, but we have excelled in every field that we went to. So with that little background, I'm so proud once again to present the management ideas of one of the greatest thinkers of India, that is Chanakya. So friends, I was telling Reddy sir that should I use a PPT, because it can go on and on and on. But I said no, a few slides and a few ideas. Okay, so very interesting. All of you know Chanakya. Prabha, are you wanting to comment something? You raised your hand, yeah. Prabha, should I continue or should I wait for your comment?
No, please continue.
Okay.
After, at the end of the discussion, we can have the question.
Yes. So friends, I don't want to get into introduction of Chanakya because I think most of us know about it. I mean, lots of literature has been written. I have written quite a few books on it. But I want to introduce you to a very interesting aspect of Chanakya, and that is Anvikshiki. Not many people know about it, like I also never knew about it. If you want to understand Chanakya's thinking, you should understand what is Anvikshiki. Anvikshiki is the method of strategic thinking. We all management gurus and teachers and students know that finally in management, it is all about strategic thinking. Chanakya specialized and taught a very interesting subject called as Anvikshiki. Anu-ikshiki, the one who wants to know, the researcher, the investigator, the thinker is what Chanakya want to create. In the field of management, we are supposed to be thinkers, researchers, policymakers, strategists. But what is the method, the process? Chanakya called it Anvikshiki. And he says in the Arthashastra, it is the Prathama Vidya. The first knowledge required for a leader or a manager is Anvikshiki, the ability to think, investigate, and understand the problem and find a solution. Now, when I first heard about Anvikshiki, I thought it is an old word, but I was quite surprised that it is a word that is used even today. For example, if you look at CBI, Central Bureau of Investigation, if you translate that into Hindi or most popularly, it is called as Kendriya Anvekshan Bureau. So Anvekshan. So Anvekshan also means research and thinking. So friends, in my my little presentation, I want to introduce you to this Anvikshiki, but you can carry on your research further. There are so many management journals and research papers written on this particular topic, and I also written a book on this myself. It's called Inside Chanakya's Mind, Anvikshiki and the Art of Thinking. So just want to introduce not just Chanakya the person, but what is he known for? Strategic thinking. And if you discover that, develop it, design, you can become the Chanakya. So it is not about somebody else, it's about you. So friends, that's where Chanakya's management comes in. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to be sharing some sutras. Sutras are like formulas given in the Kautilya's Arthashastra related to the field of management. So, it will be like a takeaway, and I already passed on this PPT to Reddy sir and team. So, maybe we can forward it to all the participants later. So if you're a management teacher, professor, my request is that please use this in your classes and, make sure that all of us understand this better. So I'll be using some sutras and explaining you from the management angle from the Chanakya's or Kautilya's Arthashastra. Next slide, please. Okay, so as I told you, the topic is management lessons from Chanakya. So let's see what is Chanakya's takeaway on management, managing the whole kingdom. Okay, so let us look at the basic definition of management. So typically in a kingdom, there is a Raja and a Mantri. Okay, a king and his minister. He's also called as Amartya. So according to Chanakya, the king has to lead along with the Amartyas or managers. So what is his job and what is the definition of management? The basic elements. So we have the 5 principles, the 5 P's, 4 P's, a lot of definitions new coming up, right? Chanakya clearly told management is about 5 things. See how beautiful. Panchanga. Pancha means 5, Anga means parts. So if you're able to think from 5 dimensions, you understand management. What is it? Karmana rambhabhyopayaha, Purusha dravya sampada, Desha kala vibhago, Vinipata pratikaraha, Karya siddhi riti, Panchango mantraha. So I told you Panchanga, not the BBC Panchanga where you refer to the 5 parts of astrology and astronomy. This is Panchanga of management. So Chanakya's 5 principles of management. What are they? Karmarambhopayaha. If you want to be a good manager or a leader, the first thing is Karya Arambaha, the means of starting undertaking. A lot of people, especially young boys and girls, may get a job because of your management degree. But you know what happens? After they get their first placement, they sit and wait for the boss to decide what is my job profile. Friends, that is not management. If you're intelligent enough, you have to start something. Initiation is very important. So go and take some initiative if you want to be a manager. I remember there's a small activity that was done at Tata Group, where they picked up around 20-25 management trainees, and they ran through a 3-month orientation program. And after the 3-month orientation program, they were told, now you all have gone through the orientation program. Now you'll be getting placements in different Tata Group of companies. But tomorrow morning, each one of you, 25 of you, have to tell us which company you want to join and what is your job profile. So, all these 25 young boys and girls are looking at each other and saying that, are these people mad? Because we have joined the company and they are telling you decide. So they were not very sure. So this HR person, a very good friend of mine, he was telling me they were totally confused. And after 5-10 months, he said, sir, we didn't understand what is this assignment. It is not an assignment. It is choosing your job profile. So they said, but sir, we never trained like that. Then he said, remember, you are intelligent, you are educated. Now you know the whole company in 3 months. We have taken you through all the PowerPoint presentations. You met the chairman of the company, you know different things. Now you decide which is the company you want to join. There is a lot of opportunities everywhere. Whether you want to join TCS, whether you want to join this, whether, Tata Motors. So they said, wow, it's a very strange opportunity. But they said, don't just recommend, come with a plan. Okay. So many times when we get a job, we forget the very essential thing, that is how to make a plan. Karmarambho paya. Upaya means looking at the problems and the solution. So remember, friends, as a manager, you're not supposed to get a job. You have to look at problems and solutions. So many times it's so funny that all of us talks about packages. How much did I get? That's one part of it. But after you get the package, the first thing Chanakya is the means of starting undertakings. Now here it is very interesting. A lot of people have this attitude of Arambe Shuraha. That means they start with a lot of enthusiasm. But on the way, they forget the main objective. Therefore, we have a very interesting formula. I think many of us use it. It's called MBO, Management by Objectives. And some people call it KRA, Key Result Area. So if you're a manager, the first thing is think that what am I supposed to do? What is my role? What is my job profile? Don't wait for the boss to tell you. Of course, the boss can tell you, guide you, but you also have to take initiative. You have to be proactive. So the first thing is to start. So start. After that, what? Purusha Dravya Sampada, the excellence of men and material. So you start something, you require resources. Now, a lot of people have this complaint, especially startups we have seen. I don't have funds. I'm waiting for a venture capitalist or an angel investor or a seed capital funder. And I said, okay. So they're just waiting and making business plan. The first part is over. They've made a business plan. But they think that's only when you get money, then you can start. Chanakya says no. Whatever you have in hand, start. Plan out. But people say, I don't have resources. No. I have only 10 people. I need to have 20 people before I start the work. No. Excellence of men. So if you have limited resources, start. If you got limited material, start. So excellence means optimum utilization of men and material. So I think we already know this. So don't wait for first resources to come in. Whatever resources are available, start with that. So I will give a small example. Since Sir just mentioned about one of my books called 7 Secrets of Leadership, Chanakya 7 Secrets of Leadership. I have co-authored that with D. Shivanandan, who was a Director General of Maharashtra Police. So, when we work with the police department, one of the assignments that I was working with them was some of the elections that happened in different districts of Maharashtra. So it was a very interesting thing because remember, even a police officer is also a manager and a leader. So I remember this meeting I was involved in. So there was some important meeting about resource planning. So I'll tell you what resource planning is. Let's say there is elections going on. The policing is supposed to take care of law and order, security, safety, everything. So all the district police officers at the IPS level were called, and there was a manpower planning list being made. So everybody was, the boss sitting over there was saying how many people. So he was making that list, and everybody was giving. So some certain people said, I require 200 constables and policemen. So that is because my area is big. Somebody said, I require 150. Somebody said my area is very large. I require 500, etc., etc. So interestingly, there was this one IPS officer, very young guy. By the way, he had done his management and MBA. So he also did an IPS and went over there. And I was quite surprised. I was also part of a small discussion in that meeting. He had already allocated around 60 people, and he had a big area. And when his turn came, how many new manpower you require? And strangely, he said, I don't require any. I will manage with my 60. So everybody is looking at saying, how can you manage with 60? And I said, if required, I'll tell you. But, I think it is good enough. Well, such a big thing, elections is going on and all those things. So I remember this, after that whole discussion and all. By the way, the boss also realized if required, there is an extra and all those things. During the tea break, people were asking him, how come everybody is demanding more and you are saying you can manage with the existing number of people? And he said something very interesting, and that is where strategy comes in. He said, you know what, I've already mapped my electoral places where the election is going to be held and etc etc. So let's say there are 60 schools, just give you an example, okay, or 30 schools where the election is going to be held. That's like your election booth. He said, what is the role of police in election? Okay, so the police role is to ensure law and order, security, everything. So there is some kind of a people who will be continuous on the round. So like a boss, as an IPS officer, I will be continuously around roundups. I'll be taking calls. But actually speaking, we made a list of those 60 people who will be on the field. Okay, so I don't require extra because they're already there. But how? But in every booth, can you manage with one constable? Well, yeah, very easy. So how? Then he said something very interesting, saying that let's say there is a school and there'll be maybe 1,000 people will come to vote. My role is how to make police presence effective. So what do you mean by police presence? If I require extra, if there is a riot, there is a chaos, I can always call the extra reserve police. But right now I don't require. So what is the role? You know what I will do? I'll put this police constable on the roof of that particular school. Roof. Why? Because when people are coming, when they see the policeman at the top, they'll feel, oh, there is policeman. They don't know whether there's 1 or 20 policemen. So sometimes it's also a strategic way of placing your people. It is not just having more people. And that's why one of the very important thing is not the number of people, but the number of productive people. This is what Chanakya is trying to tell you is Purusha, that is people, and Dravya. I only have got, one computer, one laptop. So what? Start. Of course, as money grows in, you'll get more. Dravya Sampada, how to use it excellently. And this you should actually learn from the many business communities, especially the Marwadi communities, I remember this discussion with the Marwadi businessman. He says, we look at optimal utilization to the T. What do you mean by optimal utilization to the T? Let's say I have a shop. Okay. Many times people say, the rental of the shop is very costly and things like that. There is a wait. What is the, maybe morning to maybe 9 o'clock. Wait, you have not optimum utilized the resource. Why? Because 9 to whatever 9:30. Wait, he says I pay rent for that particular shop for 24 hours, but my business hours is only 12. Why? So he would say that can I start in the morning 6 o'clock and go till 12 o'clock? And I'll tell you, this is the model we find in Dmart. Do you know why Dmart has been very successful as a retail brand? Because they believe that optimum utilization of the existing space. And in the lockdown, in the corona period, you must have seen this, that many of them were actually working 24/7. So they took government permissions, essential services. Remember, it's not what you have, it's how you make them fully optimal. Purusha Dravya Sampadaha, the excellence of men and material. Next, Desha Kala Vibhago. Very important in management is right timing and right place. You may have the best product, but you should know how to position it. Like, when Apple launches a new kind of a product, then it knows it has to go with a bang, the right timing, the right place. And that's why, movie launches are so important. Of course, now it's pandemic, but, a Rajinikanth movie is not about the movie. It's also about the launch. It's the right place, right time. So that is what you think when you're launching a product or a service. Then, Vinipata Pratikaraha, provision of failure. A lot of people, positive, let's do it. But what is your backup plan? Chanakya says, always plan from 2 angles. The best case situation and the worst case situation. Okay. So he says, plan A, plan B, plan C. So you should have your backup plans. That is provision against failure. And finally, very important, Karya Siddhi Riti. Finally, you started something, but did you complete it? So, not just Arambe Shuraha, but Siddhi. And our Prime Minister calls it very nicely, Sankalp se Siddhi. So, Modi ji talks about that a lot. I take a promise and I deliver it. I mean, that's what leadership is all about. So if you start something, don't just start. A lot of people are there who start. They're very good in starting, but they don't know how to follow through. They don't know how to plan. And finally, they are lost. It is not just starting, but it's also the right ending, which continues to be another starting. Starting, ending, end should be another start. That becomes continuity. So this 5 ways of planning, deliberation is thinking, planning, discussing. It is mantraha. Mantra has got many meaning. The most popular is when you do a mantra japa. You take Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, or whatever, according to our custom, culture, religion, whatever. No, that's only mantra. But mantra also means mantrana, discussion. So when all of you get into boardroom meeting, this is a 5-point checklist. What are we starting? Okay, we are starting a new company, a new project, a new assignment. Good. So let's start it. Let's plan everything on paper. But what is the resource planning? Excellence of men and material. Okay. Right time, right place. Sometimes the best product fails, not because the product is bad or the service is bad, because it was not planned at the right place and the right time. So launch is also very important. And of course, what is your backup plan? If it doesn't work, don't just cry. So every place we should have a fire extinguisher or an exit route. And then, of course, we will not stop till we achieve the goal, accomplishment of work. Beautiful, isn't it? So in one sutra among 6,000 sutras, we find all 5 principles of management, panchanga, in 5 aspects, but in one sutra. What a beautiful way of putting it simplistically. Book number 1, chapter 15, sutra number 42. You see the gems of wisdom? If you just digest it, you will see that the whole crux of management is here. Next slide, please. Okay. Another important thing. Sahaya sadhyam rajatvam chakrame kam na vartate. Kurvita sachimamsta samtu shunu yatmakam. Rulership can be successfully carried out only with the help of associates. One wheel alone does not turn. Therefore, he should appoint ministers and listen to their opinion. What is Chanakya telling? He is giving a very basic principle. Sahaya sadhyam rajyatam chakrame na vartate. One wheel alone does not take the vehicle forward. What is the principle here? Never be a one-man show. Yes, all of you will be joining in some organization, maybe leading an organization, but remember, it can never be a one-man show. Management is always about teamwork. Management is about collaboration. Management is about listening to different views. So friends, we have to come as a nation to collaborate. And I'm so happy that AIMS over here, Association of Management Association. So you see this, it's a collaborative method. It's very unfortunate that, our education system actually became an examination system, thanks to the Britishers, who wanted the best brains. But that's not the point. The way ahead is collaboration, not competition. It's cooperation. Okay, so it's very, very important that we move forward. So what is the one thing Chanakya is saying? Everybody needs a team. Everyone needs a team. Together, each one achieves more. The famous, acronym, it says TEAM. Together, everyone achieves more. But this is a concept called synergy. Stephen Covey, the famous author of one of the greatest books of all time in field of management, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, made this concept very clear. It is always synergy that is the quality of a great leader or manager. So he says 1 + 1 can be greater than 2. It doesn't have to be only 2. So that's synergy. Therefore, if you want to be a good manager, please take the help of associates. And we have an association over here. We help each other. So what's happening maybe in Bombay or Delhi or Tamil Nadu or Andhra, we all come together and discuss ideas. And we talk about best practices. We talk about case studies. Therefore, in our own individual life, remember this. It is not about killing somebody else. It's about cooperating with everybody else. There is this Western concept called that survival of the fittest. India has a different concept. Live and let live. We need to grow together. One wheel alone does not turn. Therefore, what you should do, appoint the best brains and what? Then listen to their opinion. A lot of people have this problem. They appoint the best brains, but they instruct them rather than listening to them. Imagine, this very, very famous couples that we have, Jodis as we call it, Shivaji and Samartha Ramdas, his guru. Look at it, Ali Rama and Krishna Devaya. All these stories, they were listening to the advice. A lot of people pay the manager the advice given Chanakya that please listen to their opinion. Book number 1, chapter 7, sutra number 9. Very rich. If you have the best brains, then listen to their opinion. Don't just instruct them. They're not supposed to deliver. They're supposed to be ideating and giving you the best ideas to be delivered. In fact, I read a very amazing statement. So one big chairman of a multinational company said, if I were to surround myself with the best brains, okay, if I were to surround myself or hire the best brains, then I'll be among giants. So I'm small and it takes somebody better than me. So he believes in hiring people who are better than me, then I'll be in the company of giants. But if I take somebody whose level is below me, okay, then I'll be found in a circle of dwarfs. So everybody is smaller than me and I'll feel like a giant. No, it should be the other way around. I should feel like a small person surrounded by those people who are bigger than me. Imagine Chandragupta Maurya having Chanakya like people who are giants. So friends, remember one thing, very important formula, don't compromise on the advice of the best. Advisors can make you or break you. So don't compromise on the quality of the brain that you get. And that's why if you look at all multinational companies, they always hire the best and listen to them and give the freedom. Okay, so Chanakya says this, Sahaya Sadhyam Rajyottam. Leadership is always collaborative and going together forward. Next sutra, please. Okay. Sankha Tarsheshu Karmasu Niyukta Ye Yatha Dishtartham Savishesham Va Kuryusthana Amatya Nu Kurvita Drishtu Gunatvam Iti. Very interesting. This is an advice to all managers. Who is an effective manager? Okay. The king should make those his ministers. This is all about recruiting and giving them, promotions and things like that. A king should make those his ministers who, when appointed to task, the income from which is calculated beforehand would bring in the income as directed or more, since thus their qualities are proved. Chanakya is very, very clear on finances. Suppose you appoint somebody and say, start a new business unit, as we call it, a strategic business unit or a new unit altogether. And you're giving him a budget. So let's say, and he makes like, I will give you a return on maybe 20 crores. Okay, so that's on the planning stage. But imagine after 3 years when you have a review again, and say, okay, you know what, I took crores, promised you that I will get 20 crores. But unfortunately, I can only, the market condition is not good, and unfortunately, there's pandemic, the world is very bad. So he says, how much did you get? Finally, you tell me, I gave you 10 crores. So, no, we only could make 8 crores. And what do you mean by 8 crores? You made a loss of 2 crores. But you had promised 20 crores. But you know what? Sorry, not delivered. Then he says, what if he brings the income as calculated beforehand? So he comes back and says, sir, how much did you make? 20 crores. Very nice. Or would bring in income as directed or more. He comes back and says, sir, you know what? I made 30 crores. You look at it and say, very, very good. ROI is excellent. I give him 10, he promised 20, and he's over-delivered. So remember, if you are over-delivering, your qualities are proved. Please understand, it's not about making PPTs. It's not about, making PowerPoint presentation. Your success is not seen in a PPT. Your success is always seen on an Excel sheet. Yes, my dear friends, Artha Shastra. If you are able to prove success in numbers, then only you are an effective manager. See, Chanakya's wisdom cannot be taken away so lightly, because this is time-tested principle. It's very clear on this. He talks about revenue, ROI. He talks about continuous cash flows, and he talks about delivery. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. It's better to underpromise and overdeliver. It's very important that you speak less and deliver more. Unfortunately, people like us included, we are all speakers. No speakers. We want project managers who deliver results. See, this is a very important quality of a manager. And once your work speaks for you, once the work speaks for you, you don't have to speak. Others speak for you. So it's important to know delivery matters a lot for Chanakya, and financial delivery definitely very important for Chanakya. And many people ask me, what is Chanakya's economic model? I said Chanakya's economic model is very clearly called as productive economics. He believes in productivity. He believes in efficiency. He doesn't believe, just give, burn the cash. Of course, if investment is required, you have to invest. But every person, especially at the management level, has to deliver the results financially also. Next slide, please. Okay. As I told you, there's so much, but time is limited. He, the leader, should hear at once every urgent matter and not put it off. An affair postponed becomes difficult to settle or even impossible to settle. If you're a manager, you're leading a team, sarvamatya ikam karyam. So remember, no information is small for you and no decision should be kept pending. Yes, if you're a leader, you're a manager, you're leading a team, if somebody comes to you saying that urgent, he said, no, my time, you please come with an appointment. Sorry, I'm a very busy man. Who am I? I'm a big manager. Oh, I'm a branch manager. Oh, okay. But he postpones it. You know what happens? If you postpone it, in the long run, either it is said, a stitch in time saves nine. Let me tell you, all problems that cannot be solved is because you did not find the solution in the beginning. You knew the problem. Many people are aware of the problem, but they, it's like a cat who, self-blinds itself and says, no, there is no problem, no. So Chanakya says, very important that listen to everyone. So you have to be a good listener. I think every particular culture in the world talks about one quality of a great leader is listening. Therefore, we had Raja Sabha, and today we call it Rajya Sabha. But what is a Raja Sabha? The Raja, the king, the leader used to sit and listen to the common man on a daily basis. It is not, when I have a mood, when I am free, I listen to people. No. Jana Sabha also it's called. In fact, in the Arthashastra, book number 1, chapter number 19 talks about the daily duties of a king. 1.5 hours per day of the daily schedule, the king has to listen to a common man and the ministers and the councillors. So almost 8 hours, not 1 or 2, 8 hours of a leader's time or a manager's time goes in listening. And we are all here to give speaking, sermons, lectures in the name of vision, leadership, nothing. Listen. I want you to introduce a very interesting word. I'm not sure how many of you heard about it. If not, please write it down, okay? This word is the highest quality of leadership according to our Indian scriptures. Okay, we think that leadership is about oratory skills. No. Leadership is not just about oratory skills, speaking. This word comes in a lot of shastras and it is called Saha Hridaya. Saha Hridaya means Saha means together, Hridaya means heart. So when you listen to a person, you understand, you have an emotional connect, what we call as emotional intelligence. The problem with a lot of teams is that they're together, but they're not connected. Their hearts are not connecting. Good leaders know this. By listening and understanding, you develop Saha Hridayata. So suppose there is a person who comes and is trying to express something to you and you say, come on, speak out. But if that person is not able to speak out, because everybody cannot communicate, but you're trying to connect to the person saying, tell me, no problem, I'll help you. If you can't speak now, come in the afternoon, let's have a discussion. If you can't, write it down. Or maybe you'll say, you want to speak to this person? Maybe, he can tell me what is the problem. The moment you understand the problem, there's a connect. Let me tell you, I've seen so many teams, but together they work, but they're not connected. But a team which is connected at the Hridaya level can work from anywhere. But yes, work from home or work from anywhere. But what is important, they have to be connected with a common purpose and goal. But they need to feel wanted and connected with the heart. Today we have a lot of connectivity. But remember one thing, the greatest management quality or leadership quality that our Shastras speak is Saha Hridaya. When the heart is connected, work gets done. When the vision is passed on to the last man, you achieve miraculous results. Look at Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, one of the greatest leaders. He only lived for 50 years, but created a Maratha empire. Look at so many dynasties in South India also for that matter, North India for that matter. You have the Chola dynasty. They went to so many parts of the world. So there was no communication, no newspaper, no WhatsApp. But what connected those people to work so much? Saha Hridayata. Yes, friends, it's very important when you become managers. If you are students over here, don't show your management skills by speaking about it. Connect. There could be an old peon who may be 45, 50, 60 years old, but you have to inspire him also. Maybe a lady who is struggling to make the two ends meet, you have to connect to her also. A young boy who has come and doesn't know, lost in life, doesn't know whether this is the right career I chose, him also. It is connection that matters, not the internet connection, but the connection of the heart. Saha Hridayata. How do you achieve that Saha Hridayata? Listening. He, the leader, should listen everything, take every input seriously, take everything urgently. Just to wind up, the very famous Kabir ka doha, Kabir ji. And again, like Chanakya speaks in sutras, Kabir used to speak in dohas, small, small couplets. So he said, Kal kare so aaj kare so ab. What you have to do tomorrow, do it today. And what you're supposed to do it today, do it now. So what does it mean? Don't postpone. You have to be efficient, proficient, and therefore you have to understand the essence of everything. Okay, if somebody is speaking, what is it that you want? Come on, I'll give it to you. It's a letter, I will send it for you. You want a message, I will give it to you. You want this, you do it. The efficient guys always know how to listen, how to connect. Saha Hridayata. Thank you so much. Can we go to the next slide? That's it. I mean, I've been given 20-25 minutes. It's 7 o'clock. I thought, I'll just share a few thoughts. But remember, this is a drop in the ocean. Please read Arthashastra. I've already written, 21 books on Chanakya. So you can just Google it, a lot of videos. It's not about me, but it's a wisdom of the ages. So I'm sure all of you will connect to Chanakya's management and take it forward. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Radhakrishna Pillai. It is a wonderful presentation, effectively articulated things very in a simple words. That is very important. See, all this time, the people were feeling that Chanakya means it is very difficult to understand what he wanted to do, we as Indians. But that type of feeling was there even to many of us. But with your presentation, it is very, very, suddenly has become very close to our heart, because that is a part of our culture now. Because he is our forefather, so we inherit something from him. Therefore, in our genes, it is there that we can easily connect to our past, though he left long back. His thoughts are very well there and creating waves among us. Thank you very much, Professor Radhakrishna Pillai. And of course, I request the participants, please feel free to share your opinions and questions, if any, in the chat box. I will definitely take it up. So before that, it is definitely, see, the most important aspect, personally, you said that vision should be passed to the last one. Vision should be passed to the last one. Means that shows the effective communication system. I feel so. In the modern days, we talk about communication, all that. Am I audible? So, as for this Chanakyas, what should be the best communication system one should have for effective decision-making system in the modern days? Please.
So according to Chanakya, the best communication system is called as regular communication. Okay? Regular and continuous communication. Look at our houses. When we go to a house, there's a continuous communication happening between all the family members. And especially, husbands have this complaint, when you go home, you are tired, and the wife will keep speaking. And yesterday we had Women's Day also. But, it's very important to know that when you're constantly communicating, it may look like a silly thing, but for us, we say it's important that we communicate not just once, but regularly. There was a study done, sir, about passing on vision. So they actually mapped a few organizations where the leader met all the team members at the start of the year. Okay, and they talk about the vision, the communication, the target, and everything. And afterwards, they review that next year. So once in a year they meet. So you'll see that happening now in the month of April. You know, all the financial year is over, and everybody will rush and saying, okay, we are all going to have an annual performance review or an annual vision and all that stuff. So first lot of people were those people who were communicated once. And there's a second lot of organizations which believed in continuous communication. So they met 2-3 times in a month. Okay. Tell me one thing which is more effective and which was more productive. 100% the second one, because they believe that you may have set a target. It's like saying I want to go from place A to place B, and you say, okay, all of you decide. But after 1 year, you come and say, why did you not achieve B? And you say, no, this problem happened, and it becomes a blame game. But imagine you have set a target for a year, but you meet every month 2-3 times, and you say there's a problem, and the person says, don't worry, I'll help you. So you push each other, and interestingly, they achieve the vision and the target much more before time. So one of the principles over here for constant communication is called as constant discussion and constant review. So the best form of communication is not one-time communication, it's regular communication and ongoing continuous communication. That actually proves the result of every communication.
A wonderful interpretation and explanation. And the second most thing that comes to my mind, and many of my colleagues also may be thinking, see, in management, decision making is the most important issue. Everything is centered around the decision making. So, what is the toughest decision that one has to face and how to overcome it as Chanakya as philosophy?
Very clearly said, the biggest decision problem that we have is called as Dharma Sankat. So, this is very, very popular. Imagine the best warrior Arjuna. He has Hanumanji on his chariot, okay? And he has Krishna with him. I mean, tell me one thing, can somebody fail after this kind of a blessing? That Hanumanji's power is there, the chariot is there, you have Krishna on your side, but Dharma Sankat. So the biggest problem for decision making is, as Shakespeare put it, to do or not to do, what to do and what not to do. But I'll tell you something, the solution for this particular biggest problem, don't take a decision. Huh? You said no, very rightly, sir, it's about decision making. Never take a decision, arrive at a decision. So what is the difference between taking a decision and arriving at a decision? So if you're a leader, you've been forced, please take a decision, You're not getting time to think. Postpone the decision, talk to experts. It's called Vriddha Sanyogaha. So when you discuss with 10 people, you get fresh ideas. And then you arrive at a decision, especially when you are a leader, discuss with your team and probably they'll give you better insights and better solutions. So arrive at a decision together rather than taking a decision and imposing on your people. So this is something very important. Decision making is part of leadership, but taking a decision as a one person is dangerous. Others may just follow it, or they may ask, why did you get into so much complication? At least you could have asked us. One small example I like to give you. Tata Institute of Social Studies, TIS, carried a very interesting study on farmer suicides. And they found one village, I don't know where, but it's a complete village of widows. Okay? All of them are widows. Imagine what a plight. So all these mass suicides and everything like that, all the husband farmers. So in that study, they asked them, how come they took a decision on, suicide and you never knew it? You know what the ladies told? Our only wish is that hopefully they discuss with us their financial problems.
Oh, wonderful.
So think about it. It is not about the problem. It is about the discussion. So these ladies were saying we never even knew about it. So at least our husbands could have discussed with it. So we could have given them some support, some way that don't earn for the family. We'll all together face it as a family. So don't take a decision, arrive at a decision.
Yeah, I remember that the similar question posed to P.V. Narasimha Rao when he was the Prime Minister. So then he says, everybody says that we didn't take decision. We have taken a decision not to take any decision. So that is what P.V. Narasimha Rao answered. So of course, arriving at the decision is the best thing rather than taking the decision. Thank you very much. Now, I personally feel one thing. You mentioned that Saha Hrudaya. Now, I want to use one more word, Sahrudaya. Sahrudaya Sahrudaya. How to make Sahrudaya people into Sahrudaya people? So, please, if you think so, please comment on that if you possible.
No, I think that's a very beautiful word, because one more word I would like to add on is Sukruta. So, the people who are connected for a common purpose. Krita means Karyaha. Su means together. So, we always believe that Saha Hridaya Sukruta Saha. So, this is very important. What it means is that teamwork. It is not just about one, it is about many working towards the one. Okay, so let me rephrase it. It is not about one, it is many working towards that one, that vision, that that particular goal or something. So I think it's very important to know that finally we all have to be interdependent with each other. See, look at, we have so many management schools over here. We can think about isolation and say, I'm the best, I'm the best. Who cares? Even if we get the best of the awards, finally next year somebody else will get it. And somebody else will get it. But what is important, that you are an important part of the activity. You're part of that particular industry or that field. So finally maturity says that we all have to work together, interdependent on each other. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. And one more question before I go to the chat box. The leadership issue. See, now n number of books have come, and it is ever-growing field. So many future leadership styles may come. And presently, we talk about the servant leadership, what Mahatma Gandhi was also very frequently mentioned. And a book is there on servant leadership written by one Western personality. Can you throw light on what the servant leadership, and is there anything in the scriptures of Chanakya?
Yeah, absolutely. I like to quote Chanakya over here. It is said, Praja sukhe sukham rajnyaha praja nam cha hite hitam. So, the happiness of the praja, the citizens, makes the king happy. Praja sukhe sukham rajnyaha. So, what does it mean? He doesn't look at his happiness. He looks at the people being happy. So, it's very important to know how do you make people happy? And Chanakya gives a very interesting solution. Don't think like a leader, think like a parent. When a parent is working with the children or bringing up children, what is the attitude? It is not about come on. It's about my own self. So when a father or a mother looks at the child, they don't look at saying somebody else's child. It's me in another form. So if you have to serve people, if you are able to connect to people, they will actually get inspired. And as you rightly pointed out, Mahatma Gandhi is known to know about servant leadership. You don't have to always lead from front. Sometimes you have to lead by being one of them. Okay, I'll repeat that. Sometimes you don't have to lead from front, but many times you have to lead by being one of them. And when you associate with the last man, believe me, therefore somebody said very nicely, Mahatma Gandhi actually could connect to the last man. So as he said, when he came back from South Africa, his political guru, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, told him, you don't understand India. Because, you have just come from a different country and you are going to be in Bombay and Ahmedabad. No, travel all over India. And Gandhiji's very famous statement, India lives in villages, in the 6 lakh villages. Interestingly, now in 2020, when the number of villages have not gone down, it's increased. We got 6,40,000 villages in India. So even though population has increased, the cities have increased. So the idea, I think, can you serve the last man? So servant leadership is about connecting to the last man so that you become happy. Even the United Nations speaks about a very interesting concept of good governance. And what they call about good governance is till the last man in the last village is not happy, the work of government is not done. Yes. So that is servant leadership.
Yeah, that's why before jump into the politics, Mahatma Ji, he traveled across the country and understood before entering into the political arena. So that is a very, very interesting observation. Now the one, Reshmi Chauhan is asking one question. Listening to the right person is definitely a good thing, but how to identify the right person is the issue, she says. Observation.
Yeah, so we should listen to everyone. See, you have to listen. In fact, Chanakya, today I did not show you the sutra. He says, not to listen to the mantris, even listen to the opinion of a child. But remember one thing, he says listening to a child doesn't mean obeying the child. Okay. So many people don't know this distinction. Listen to everybody, but only take the decision based on wise inputs.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can listen to everybody, but you should also have this viveka buddhi, the ability to discriminate which is actionable and which is not actionable. So this is where the problem is. Listen to all, but then carry forward the work and the ideas given by the experts. So you cannot say, I will not listen to you. So when you go home, you may be a very achieved person, but when you go home, you're a normal man. That the person in the house will blast you and say that you may be the greatest management guru. Who cares? So that
But
time,
you have to listen to your family members. That's all.
absolutely. Even the child, even your father, mother, wife, everybody. So in a family, there is no distinction. But when you're sitting and saying, okay, maybe child also gives some sensible advice.
Yeah, sure. Totally. Why not? Yeah.
So which one to pick up is your maturity and ability to discriminate. Listen to all, but of course, surround yourself maximum with matured people so they can give you the more experienced input as well. But you can't deny the unexperienced people either.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. And another observation is their question. And in any company, there will be teams. Within the team, there will be sub-teams. And conflict will come between the teams. So when the situation arises, how to face it is one observation. One question by, I'm not remembering the gentleman or, this is, yes. If anything, can you comment something like that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So remember one thing, if there is a conflict, that means somewhere there is an ego.
Yeah.
So in a team, the biggest problem is to manage egos of people. Okay, and the leader should know how to take everybody along. And it is called as inclusive leadership. So, there will be difference of opinion, there will be conflicts, and we have a complete, many of you may have this subject also called as conflict management. Okay, so the wisdom of a leader is to take people with different ideas together. Swami Vivekananda said this very clearly. Remember, he was a leader. Huh? He formed the Ramakrishna mission, which has survived over 100 of years. So he said the only work of a leader, remember, mark this word, huh? He said the only work of a leader is to take different types of people together. If you think everybody is going to be aligned, sorry, then you're not understood leadership. As they say, all the 5 fingers cannot be similar. Nobody in a team is similar. Everybody is unique. Okay, nobody can be same. Everybody is unique. In fact, going back to Stephen Covey, he put it very nicely. If 2 people agree, okay, 2 people agree, then there is a problem because one of them is irrelevant. And he also says that differences are the strength of a team, not a weakness.
Yes.
So I would say that, don't worry about conflicts, manage conflicts and take everybody together. For that, leader should be all inclusive and should be able to accommodate everybody. That's it.
Yeah, everybody bring together. You used the word bring together. One participant raised that how to bring the people together to one path is a challenging task in the given environment.
Yeah. So I think initially it may find difficult because there is no tuning. So, people don't understand vision, mission, and all those things. But it is, as I gave an example previously also, it's continuous communication. Speak to them, speak to them, speak to them. One day it will click to them. So, many times, vision, mission statement are all for the top management. It's good to write it on boards and all those. But the common man, the last man doesn't even understand. He only thinks, how much salary did I get when I'm going to get my next increment? So what am I going to talk? But I'll tell you, it is said very nicely that there are 2 reasons because of which people come together and work as a team. 2 reasons. Reason number 1, they have a common purpose. The second is they have a common problem.
Yeah.
So people are coming together, they have a common problem. Like, today we have to work together to make a policy which is friendly to our management schools. So there's a problem, but there's a common purpose also. So how to get people come together, continuously do team work activities. So I'll tell you something that happens in Indian communities. We have such a large families of cousins and, grandparents, grandchildren and all those things. So my father always says, once in a year, okay, you should go to a marriage minimum. So why happened? One cousin in US, one cousin there, one cousin in village, but once in a year minimum, he says, okay, remember the word. When you go, you will interact, you will see. Everybody may not be equal. Somebody may be in a city, somebody in a village, some in a foreign country. So how to get people come together? Create activities. If you don't,
that is the best.
yes, full of activities, shadi, marriage, festival, clothing, everything, and we have so many festivals. So we are a country perfect. So what I'm saying, if for team building, create multiple activities for coming together. And today I would call it physical and digital.
Digital.
From physically, this is also association. Teamwork happens.
This is what actually if you create some activity, people will flock to that side. So
Yes.
that's what. So instead of marketing the product, create the market for the products.
Wow.
That's what we teach in the marketing. So one small question from one of the participants said that when we are in a stressful environment, how to become a good listener? That is a interesting question, actually.
Yeah. So first we have to understand what is the reason for the stress. Okay, so stressful environment can be maybe a government office also. It can be a hospital also, or it can be a corporate boardroom also.
Yeah.
So there are certain places where stress is almost like a built-in system. So if you go to actually a hospital, you don't find happy people there. Everybody is a patient, and half of them is worried about death. Isn't it true? So it's natural
Yeah.
if you go into such ecosystem, the stress is inbuilt. If you go to an airport, and everybody is rushing to catch a flight, traffic jam, naturally, those kind of a stress is very different. So the other stress is something that has been created by an individual. Okay. So there is an ecosystem of stress where it's natural, and there is one thing created by people. For example, I remember there was a person, and his son told this, when the Hitler comes in, we all are disciplined. When the Hitler goes away, we are all happy. Then I asked him, who is this Hitler you're talking about? My father. So when the father comes home, everybody's studying with the books, everybody's disciplined. And the father goes, everybody is happy. So they feel nice. So the stress actually is coming from that person. But house is a place where why should you be stressful, So now coming back, how to come out of stress. Now I'll tell you, for example, in very high level stress environment like a hospital or, a lot of crowd, it's very important to accept that some level of stress will be there and prepare for it. For example, suppose you're going in a train or an airport. A lot of people get stressed because they reach on time. But you have to reach there before time. So if you're going to take a flight and you say, 7:20 flight, and it's going to be 6:30 reporting. Don't go at 6:30, go at 6 o'clock. So you're putting stress on yourself in an already stressed environment. So in a stressful environment, which is natural, plan and prepare more in advance. So in a government office also, I've seen people, when they go for some application and all those things, they say, government kuch kaam nahi hota hai. And you know it, right? So prepare for it. So as you are aware of it, and the expectation level is very bad, the government will release your whatever, papers in 2 days. That means you are stressed yourself. So you should wait for 6 months. 6 months? I'm expecting 2 days. See, remember, if you make 6 months, if it comes in 3 months, So in stressful situation, plan and prioritize in advance. As far as stressful person is concerned, manage him or her. So what do they say? Now, Hitler, when he comes, we are all disciplined. When Hitler goes, we are happy. But the solution over here is that if you are a leader in that stressful environment, what do? Can you de-stress? Do something about it. So in a government office like passport, today what they've done, outsourced it to TCS. And I don't know if many of you must have seen this when you go to passport. It's so efficient. So it's called PPP model. So some leaders must have taken a decision saying that, let's make it stress-free and productive. As an individual, please don't give stress. If you are that Hitler in the family, don't add on. Just become a normal man. So 2 things: either you can be a stress buster or a stress increaser. So don't increase stress. Be happy. That is what is important.
Have some desirable stress, always better.
Yes.
And one in the small question is that about the jealousy. See, one of the participants is that, see, jealousy is a common in the team members, are particularly peer among the peers. Because the future positions are very few and competitors are more, and jealousy will come in between instead of positive competition. So, is there anything that Chanakya's observation on the jealousy part of it?
Absolutely. The Sanskrit word is asuya.
Yes.
You're feeling jealous about the other person. Now, I'll tell you very interestingly, jealousy is always among peers. It is never about somebody higher than you or lower than you. So, can I feel jealous about, somebody like a Kumar Mangalam Birla? Oh, how much money he's got? I'm feeling jealous of him. How can I feel jealous about, an Ambani or a Tata or a Birla? Can I feel jealous about somebody who is a driver or, earning, 10,000 rupees? So remember one thing, I will never be jealous of somebody higher than me or lower than me. I'll always feel jealous about somebody who's equal to me or little above me. How does jealousy come in? Jealousy comes in because of comparison. And I tell you, there is a very easy solution for comparison. And it is not easy to practice, but it is very easy to understand. And that is believe in the concept of karma yoga. You know what happens? Well, let's say there is an appraisal and three of you are equally qualified, including you, and one of them will get a promotion. Unfortunately, only one will get a promotion. Now, what will happen is that, let's say in the three people, you don't get the promotion. So, what do you do? Feel jealous? Now the decision is taken. There is one person. So, you should understand the concept of karma yoga, which means saying that, fine, what is the point in being jealous? You'd only create negative energy. The decision is taken. But if you keep working, maybe next year you will get it. Maybe if that person leaves, you will get promoted. Remember this, okay? So what happens is that if somebody has got a promotion, you're not there, fine. Keep doing your karma. Do it the best. Don't leave. A lot of people in jealousy do a lot of horrible activities. They try to, torture that person or leave the organization. Again, negativity. Have patience. Let me tell you, believe me, karma yoga works. You should have a lot of patience. In jealousy, if somebody else gets promoted, it's fine. If somebody moves on. But as they say, sabka time aayega. Even your time will come. But at that time, they will not ask you. Second year also, you should be efficient. Third year also, you should be efficient. Fourth year also efficient. Because today, if you got, because of your efficiency, you're at the top three. Next year also, they will map you. Keep doing your work efficiently and believe in the law of karma. Everybody gets his own opportunity at the right time and at the right place.
Yeah, continuous performance will always improve both at individual level as well as at the group level.
Yes, sir.
And maybe the final, it is an observation actually rather than a question. Now, there is a small question that has come about the woman. Please just wait for a while. Small question. Yeah, listening this stressful, excellent. There is a small, some question has suddenly come into the chat box, but I missed that, and it is I could not able to see the chat box. The point, maybe the last question, and it is some observation from one of the participants that role clarity and nature of work. And that is it is an observation. If the role clarity is there from the beginning, things will be all right. So it is an observation. But however, since now my last question is that, see, last 1 year, we have been under a pandemic, and we never expected that this will happen to the mankind on this earth. It means that in future, there may be many more possibilities. So when such a calamity, it is like more than a calamity. So means disruption. The normal life is getting disrupted because of something or the other. Maybe in the Chanakya too might have thought that in some sudden something, some onslaught type of thing emerges, how to handle that particular situation. So is there any literature that shows some light on this? This is my last question, and we'll close the session. Yeah.
Sir, in fact, Chanakya spoke about disasters.
Yes.
Maybe this form of a disaster we are seeing for the first time, but we have seen many disasters in different forms.
Yes.
And Chanakya talks about two types of disasters. One is called natural disasters and man-made disasters. I'll tell you something very frankly. Many of us may be facing such a problem for the first time. But there are communities I've seen, especially from places like Rajasthan, the Marwadi community. They say it's fine. I said, how can it be fine? Then I said, aap logon ne, all of you have seen this kind of a situation first time. We see it every 3 years. I said, every 3 years? Because we're used to drought situations, because we're living in a deserted area. And I said, it's okay. But you know what is the good news? We've seen it for the first time, but we'll be ready for the next time. So here is the formula. This the Marwadi businessman told me. We always plan year to year, isn't it? Yearly problem. And many times salaried people plan month to month. One job gone, they can't survive for 2 months. The Marwadi formula is that in 3 years, earn for 4 years. Okay? So that you save well, invest well, and I think everybody will now know this, that this can get repeated. This time you have to be smarter. Maybe as a world, we are facing a common problem. And the good news is that it is not your problem or my problem. It is everybody's problem. So together we have to face it. But next time you have to be smart that if it comes again, you should be able to smoothly sail it. First time is okay. But Chanakya says disaster should be managed with the help of experience and experts. D is equal to E plus E. Disaster management is with experience and expert advice. So already we have the experience that it can get repeated. Maybe the second wave can, what do you do? Your own experience and expert advice. Then you will be able to get through any disaster situation or challenges. Thank you so much.
No, small thing actually, though that was my last question, but there was one question about women.
Yes.
See, that there is a issue going on, and of course the equal rights for women and maybe opportunities are equal rights for women. But what is the observation of Chanakya on women, where there is a big sentence actually. What is his concern about the role of a woman in the society?
In fact, you'll be surprised. Yesterday only was, International Women.
That's why the Reshmi asked this question actually.
Yes. So I'll tell you this, Chanakya was actually a power who believed in women's power. And you'll be seeing, if you study the Arthashastra, there were industries. I'm not talking about one organization, industries dominated by women. I'll give you a couple of examples. Suta Dhyaksha, there is a chapter in Arthashastra, book number 2. What is Suta means? Thread. It actually defines the textile industry, full of women. Then there is Ganika Dhyaksha, the spy industry. The women spies were there. So importantly, what Chanakya understood, man or woman, both of them should not try to become equal. They are unique. Our problem is that every woman wants to become a man. Arey, come on, you're better than a man. So the way Chanakya would it, both with their inherent strengths, it has to be collaborative. In fact, sir, I have written an article on women empowerment. I will try and send it across to you. Believe me, this country has always respected women. Of course, there are, families, individuals, and some people who may have gone through a grid where, women are not feeling that respected. But if you look at it, for us, Mata or Stri is a Shakti. So we have to understand one thing, that man and woman have come together to create. So you understand one thing, never try to be equal, try to be unique.
Yeah,
your
this is wonderful.
Is what makes you great. That is what Chanakya believed in women. And he also paid equal salaries to the queen the way he paid salaries to the king. What else kind of a respect a woman wants, that getting equal financial respect the way man would get it. Equality is not the question. Uniqueness is the question. Thank you.
Unfortunately, some people wrongly interpret in such a way that as if Chanakya doesn't like women and he used some strange words against them. That is very unfortunate actually.
Yes.
People with little knowledge will comment like that, but not really who understood what Chanakya is. Sir, and as a last word, I sincerely thank for accepting our invitation to be our guest on the 40th webinar of Association of Indian Management Schools. We always call it as AIMS. And so far 40 seminars, 40 webinars, and this is the 40th one. And after listening to you, and also some of our senior colleagues also joined this particular webinar, I will definitely recommend, and we discuss among ourselves, and we should have maybe initially on behalf of our aims, we can have some type of a course module of on management lessons from Chanakya. I think that also will help a lot, where we can take the string from you, and we will try to spread across with the help of you only we can do this, because you can help us to design a module. As Professor Uday Solanki is also in the participants. I'm really happy that in spite of his busy schedule, he joined our webinar. I once again thank you for accepting our invitation, for sharing the vision of Chanakya and various issues of management in the country. And of course, the n number of questions have started pouring in. That means people started understanding what Chanakya is. And I hope that I sincerely thank you, and thank all the participants for having joined this particular webinar. And also thank my head office at Hyderabad, and also other office at Pune, where Mr. Sunil Joshi is actually helping us in for his technical support, and members, the Executive Secretary, Mr. Venkateswar Rao. And I think the Professor Pratap Reddy also joined this, and because he called separately to me, but I could not attend his call. I'm very, very happy for being there as a moderator of this particular session. Please, we need your support in the days to come to carry out our work. And it is essential for all of us to take our own great philosopher and his words to the last man, the common man of this particular country, and we will be proud of our Chanakya. Thank you very much. Again, we'll